how did you divide that schedule for the particular subjects? For let's say VARC or LRDI for quants, how are you dividing your time amongst all these subjects?
Okay, so that again was very instinctive. So how I used to go ahead is I used to go for any sort of mock tests every weekend, and then I used to analyze them and see the areas that I was weaker at. Why did this go wrong for me and did not? Over the coming week, that is what I used to focus on to improve on those particular areas, so that in the next test that reflects that yes, there has been some impact. So it was not like there was a particular set pattern that yes, I'm going to practice geometry only this week or anything like that. It was more about fixing things wherever possible.
Okay. So how many mocks had you given approximately?
I think it was around 25 full-fledged mock tests, and I don't even remember the amount of sectional tests that I gave. But that was, I feel like, the center, the core of my preparation. That was to try to create an examination sort of an environment always, and then try to see how you perform.
Right.
Because it is I feel easier to solve questions directly from a book when you do not have a time crunch. But CAT is all about dividing your time well, knowing what questions to attempt, what not to attempt, and in such a situation, and simulating the examination hall really helps.
Right, absolutely. And speaking of preparation also, like you just mentioned, did you take the help of any coaching centers or any online courses that you took up?
I did. I took up the online coaching course by time, but I did not honestly go for a lot of classes since I feel that this is somewhere engineers hold a slight edge because the syllabus that CAT has, especially quant, it is something that we've done during our class 11th and 12th. It kinematics, for instance. This is something we've done during that time. So what we need is brushing up on all these concepts. So for me, it was more about the practice than the conceptual classes as such. So I had the material to prepare a good variety of questions, like many mock tests. So that is what I did. I just practiced them as I went along.
Great, great. And what about the challenges that you faced, as an aspirant who's preparing? Of course, we mentioned that you were working as well. But one big thing that happened, of course, in 2020 was the pandemic. So did that kind of play a role in your preparation? What happened during that time?
Yes. So I feel I was sort of lucky because I had a clear-cut idea of how well I stood in certain concepts and how bad I was in others. So it was very focused for me, so it did not impact that much. But yes, many people I know were severely affected by it because a lot of people tend to understand better in a classroom sort of an environment, which was now not possible for the safety of us all. So that, and plus you get to form a lot of study groups when you study offline in classrooms, and that did not happen even for me. So it was it used to feel at times like you're all alone in this, you're preparing, but you do not really know what to benchmark yourself against. All you have is the material that you have and how you're solving, but you do not really know how the others are doing. So sometimes that tends to be like inspiration as well. When you know others are in the same boat as you, that kind of motivates you at times. So I would not say that preparation wise it hampered, but morale wise it did used to hit at times.
Yeah. And just like the pandemic was so uncertain, there was also a lot of uncertainty surrounding the exam itself, right? The CAT exam, because there was no idea about the duration now, because it was supposed to be changed, whether the number of questions will remain the same. So how does one prepare with a mindset like that?
So this is something I feel one has to have a very open mindset about it. If you are very, so as to say, rigid about how you are attempting everything. So for example, it went from 3 hours to 2 hours, the examination went for us. And a lot of students felt that, this would affect their preparation strategy greatly. For me, my preparation had always been just do the next question to the best of your abilities. It was not really about how many questions you have to do or what type of questions you have to do. Just try to keep on going as much as you can. Plus, such like breakout news, so as to say, tends to have a psychological effect. You tend to panic at the moment. What will I do now? So that partly is because of the stress we associate with the examinations, that I have to do well in this, and the change in pattern might really, affect how I perform over there. Keeping an open mindset, just being confident of your ability to solve questions is what really gets you through these things.
Right, absolutely. And you just spoke about stress, right? So what I've read about you is that you were hardly stressed out during this examination. You would go on long walks, you would listen to music. So how are you keeping yourself this calm? Because it's such a high pressure examination at the end of the day.
So like if you like, if I'll tell you about my profile, I've been a person who's been very confused about what career to choose. So in class 12th, I studied mathematics and biology because I was not sure whether I want to become a doctor or an engineer. Finally decided on engineering. Now tried for management. So I knew one thing, that life gives you enough opportunities to switch careers and it all works out for you. So the CAT examination, however important it is, and it decides your career, but it is at the end of the day an examination. It's okay if you do not perform well once, you can go ahead for it the next year. A really great thing for me was that even after, in my first attempt, when I had a 99%, I went to my parents and told them that I really do not want to go this year. They were very supportive of it. Whatever you want to do, go ahead with it. So I think that really helped calm nerves. Plus, I think that this is something that everybody should adapt. Once you're in the examination hall, you should focus on is solving the question in front of you, whatever it is. So instead of calculating, okay, this is the amount of questions I've done and whatnot, what you should be more focused on is how am I doing right now, at the very present moment. When you start doing that, that automatic switch comes up and stress kind of goes away because you're very focused on what you're doing right now. If you have a problem in front of you, a really exciting geometry problem, it's difficult, but you also find a thrill in it that yes, this is something I have to solve. So then it becomes enjoyable and that stress automatically goes away.